But here's the thing about the Philadelphia Eagles that I've liked, and I've liked since the beginning of the year. I mean, they have a platoon system for their defensive line. Like, even their backup defensive linemen could be starters for most teams. Mm-hmm. And then you also look at their offensive line. Whenever these guys get 1st and 10 and they get 4 cracks to get into the end zone and they're pushing guys 3-4 yards up the field and they're just running the ball, Jalen Hurts only threw for 121 yards. Like, he didn't need to really show out in this game. So, I mean, regardless of what you think about the talent that they've played, these guys have 70-plus sacks, which is top 5 all-time for a defensive unit in a season, and they're going to get after Mahomes and company, and especially with Mahomes and his lack of mobility at the moment, they can really contain and keep him in the pocket and kind of limit what he's able to do. So, regardless of them playing a big-time quarterback this year, I think this is the Super Bowl matchup that most people wanted to see. I think it was the best one. I think if the Niners got in, I'm not necessarily sure that they would have put up a lot of points in the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. And if the Bengals were to get in and face the Eagles, I don't think that offensive line could have held up against this defensive line. I think Mahomes is going to put up a lot of points regardless, and I think the Eagles are going to hang in there with how stacked this roster is.
I think this is going to be we're going to see just how good Jalen Hurts really is. Can he hang with the big boys and sit at that table, or is he going to be just a tick below the elite quarterbacks in the NFL? We're going to find out.
I think it's still to be determined with him. He came in towards the end of the 2020 season, and he showed a little bit of promise, and last year took that team 9-8, made the playoffs. They were pretty competitive with Brady and the Bucs last season on the road. But ultimately, like you said, this is going to really solidify, where he's at. Is he going to be in that second tier, or does he want to be in that first tier? And I feel like even though Mahomes is going up, which, I think is the second best defense in the league, he's going to put up points. He always does. And if Hurts can match him point for point in this game, it's going to say a lot. But going forward, this is going to have a huge impact on how we view Jalen Hurts, is if he wins this Super Bowl.
What if he wins MVP, though? But, just kidding. It's going to be Patrick Mahomes. But what if he beats Patrick Mahomes? And I feel like when you talk about, elite quarterbacks, we were talking about this morning, and the way I view it is you have your guys who are just in their own category. Like, I put Patrick Mahomes, I put Joe Burrow, and I put them together. And then you have, they're just on a different level as far as, some of the plays they're able to make and the throws. And then you take a step down and you have I put Brady up there too, and Rodgers. So those 4. So Brady and Rodgers are the old ones. No offense, guys. And then Patrick Mahomes and Burrow. And then that next tier, I put Jalen Hurts in there. I put him as, what he's been able to do this year, and I know you can say he has the perfect roster around him, but I think sometimes people take it away from him a little bit he's in the MVP conversation for a reason.
No, absolutely.
And I think he's always been, people have always viewed him as the underdog, right? You think of he gets his starting job taken away from him on national television, right? And Tua takes over, and then he stays with the team the next year. And, is a backup, and he's supportive. And then he goes to Oklahoma and he gets himself to the Heisman ceremony, right? But he's always been viewed as the underdog. And then he's a second-round pick. And then, he goes to the Eagles. Nick Sirianni, makes the playoffs, but Tom Brady knocks him out of there. Okay, well, and this year, you give him an A.J. Brown. And you have just seen a huge leap from last year to this year. But I still feel like people view him as, he's not really up there. But, he's done more than, I know Lamar Jackson got the MVP, but, he's taken his team to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, and what the Eagles did this offseason was absolutely brilliant. Their offense was a little bit banged up, like Kelsey and Lane Johnson, I think Lane Johnson's the best right tackle in the NFL right now. They were both in and out of the lineup last year. Lane Johnson, I think he missed significant time. I don't have the exact number, but he was out. Devontae Smith was a rookie, and they didn't have another, passing weapon outside of Goddard there. And so when you put the offensive line together, and I think overall they had the best offensive line in the league, you go and get an A.J. Brown, you solidify the secondary, you go get depth on the defensive line, and cumulatively they've just been bullying people on the line of scrimmage, which is how you win football games. You collaborate that with a really talented secondary. They go out and get Bradbury, and they go get C.J. Gardner-Johnson, wide receivers and weapons, and then along with Jalen Hurts and Sanders in the run game, I mean, they just have the complete package. And I think when you look at the Super Bowl, it's going to come down to, can Hurts make those throws that we've been seeing him make? I mean, it's not just him passing to wide open guys. He is throwing guys open and on the money in high-level NFL caliber throws, which is something that completely shocked me this season. I just didn't think that he had that in his arsenal.
Junie, good stuff. We'll be listening on Saturday, 9 to 11, but you're going to be in here for me Thursday and Friday. So it'll be you and Michelle.
It'll be Michelle and Junie weekday edition.
Yeah, there you go.
Same time.
Thursday,
Same time.
Friday, and Saturday. Listen, you can tune in.
Same bat time, same bat channel. That's before your time. But, yeah, good to see you, man.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Junie Riddle, check him out, 9 to 11 Saturdays alongside Michelle. Coming up next, unfortunately, Joe Fortenbaugh had to reschedule, so we hope to have him next week. But we'll get in.
.com. We make it happen.
The Freaks on Parade Tour returns. Zombie, Cooper, Rob Zombie, Alice Cooper, together live. September 12th, Bridgestone Arena. With special guests, Ministry and Filter. Tickets are on sale Friday, 10 a.m. at LiveNation.com. The Freaks on Parade Super Tour. Buy tickets at LiveNation.com.
At 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, we recognize our veterans, active military, and first responders with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air,
Gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
This is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Now, your Game Center update.
Super Bowl 57 has been set. The Philadelphia Eagles will take on the Kansas City Chiefs on February 12th. Former Titans wide receiver A.J. Brown and punter Brett Kern will make their first appearance in the championship matchup. Meanwhile, the Tennessee Titans are still searching for their next offensive coordinator. ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport shared his thoughts on the OC search.
I think you're going to really see that ramp up this week, at the Senior Bowl down in Mobile, Alabama. Starts tomorrow, but that's a time where you see guys start to, land jobs and interviews can happen there.
And the NHL saw a big trade yesterday evening with the Vancouver Canucks trading their captain Bo Horvat to the New York Islanders. Horvat played in 621 games for the Vancouver Canucks and scored 420 points. He'll join the New York Islanders, who are 2 points out of a playoff spot. And the NHL All-Star festivities will commence on Friday in Sunrise, Florida, with UC Saros representing the Nashville Predators. I'm Nick Kieser for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Bobby and Rex Road. Chase and Michelle.
Caroline, Willie, D-Bay.
Stone and Company. Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
102.5 and 106.3.
Rank City score.
On both sides of the ball.
One big possession.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
All the big topics.
That's what people want to know about.
Mixed with some entertainment.
So funny.
It's not funny.
Give it a minute.
This is Chase and Michelle with Chase McCabe and Michelle Knezovic.
We got a great show for you, even if we don't. Who cares?
Chase and Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club, love your hair, live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase and Michelle, hour number 2, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McKay, Michelle Knezovic, the reporter, Nick Keyser, here with you on a Tuesday. Be listening at the end of this segment. We'll have your chance to win Adam Sandler tickets.
Oh, I want to go to this so badly.
I've decided I'm going to go. I am totally going to go. I love Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler is I think he's up there with all-time favorite actors, comedians, actors. I just said, quick, funny little story. When my mom lived in New York when she was around my age, her and my dad would just go to like hole-in-the-wall comedy places and saw Adam Sandler before he was Adam Sandler.
So,
I just love that.
This would have been what, early 90s?
Yeah.
So this is right before SNL and Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison.
Yeah,
and stuff
before
like
he
that.
was big.
So, okay. So is that why you're into him? Because your parents were into him?
No, I mean, I grew up watching those movies, so maybe that's part of the reason, too.
I'm going somewhere with this because I love this. Like, Adam Sandler is one of my all-time favorites because I grew up when Sandler and Ben Stiller and Chris Farley and David Spade and like those guys. That was like Chris Rock.
That was
the SNL crew that is the best of all time in my opinion. I mean, I know Eddie Murphy was awesome and Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd and that group, but I mean, this is what I remember. And then, I was even young for Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore, but then he just had a run of Waterboy and Mr. Deeds and Big Daddy and Little Nicky, which I think Little Nicky gets a bad rap. I love Little Nicky. I think that's a funny movie.
So I grew up watching, like, Big Daddy was always like a big one I would watch, and I loved that movie. And so that and Happy Gilmore, like, I watched all of those because my brother and I would watch them with like my dad or my stepdad or my mom. So I think I just loved all the movies that he was in, and I always thought they were super funny when I was younger, but I never like associated him with SNL because that was like pre-Michelle.
That was pre-Michelle.
But I also have watched some of like the skits since I've been older, like when he does the Chris Farley song tribute.
Yeah.
That gets me every time. But he's also like in some newer movies that are
the grown-ups.
Grown-ups is funny.
Those are good.
I don't know, he's just a goofy dude, and I've just always loved him.
He's hilarious. I'm trying
Text
to
us in your favorite Adam Sandler movie, 615-737-1025.
Did you ever see Anger Management?
Oh, yes. That was a good one. Yeah. I watched that probably when I was way too young to watch that, but but shout out parents for letting me do that.
I'm trying to think of the Waterboy goes without saying. The Wedding Singer, that's a good one.
Oh, The Wedding Singer, that's a good one.
Happy Gilmore is probably my favorite. That's probably my all-time favorite one.
Uncut Gems.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah,
I liked that one.
Yeah, he's in a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's been around a long time. But anyway, we'll have Adam Sandler tickets to give away. And I know people will definitely Anger Management. Nick says solid Adam Sandler movie. Yeah, it's a good one. But got some early odds on the Super Bowl from our friends at Superbook Sports, of course, the official sports book. And, I watched this open. They had it as a pick'em for a hot second, and then Philly became a 2-point favorite, which is interesting. I could make an argument for the Chiefs to be a favorite. And I think as we get closer, this It could close as a pick'em. I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't be shocked either. I think one of the main reasons that Philly is a favorite, I mean, I know that, San Fran, they had their quarterback issues, and the Giants, we don't know if they were just frauds, and Philly ran through both of those teams, but they still were playoff games. And I think also the Chiefs wide receiver core being injured plays a big role into this, and Patrick Mahomes being injured plays a big role into this on why they're, the 2-point dogs. But 2 weeks to rest, I mean, Mahomes better be leg up. Ice and elevate, dude.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I thought he looked. I mean, the Cincinnati didn't put much pass rush on him. They didn't attack him enough, but he looked pretty mobile for having a sprained ankle. But I mean, this Eagles defense is going to attack him. So I do think it'll probably close as a pick'em. We have a texter on the text line. They always have funny, interesting odds during the Super Bowl time.
Yeah.
Dan from Clifton Park texted in, best bet for the Super Bowl, over in the time listed for the national anthem. Nothing better than cashing a bet before the game has even started.
Who's doing the anthem? I know Rihanna's doing the halftime show.
Rihanna, very excited for the halftime show. Not sure who's doing the anthem.
I know they've said it, and I'm just blanking on who. Oh, it's is it Stapleton?
That'd be good. I love Chris Stapleton.
It is Stapleton.
There are always so many random odds. One last year was like, what type of NFL apparel is Snoop Dogg gonna wear?
Oh yeah,
because he always wears just wild stuff. But the over/under for this game, Chase, 49.5 on Superbook Sports.
I'd take the over. I think both offenses will put up points.
Yeah, I do too. I always loved looking at MVP. Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts are obviously plus 140. They're the top of the list.
We already got first touchdown scorers too.
I know we already have first touchdown scores. I would put money on, you're not going to get really good odds, plus 700 Travis Kelce or Jalen Hurts because those are the obvious ones.
I like Miles Sanders too at plus 800.
I think a Devontae Smith plus 1,200.
Yeah.
I think it'd be kind of interesting.
AJ's plus 1,000, which is interesting. Goddard's plus 1,200. I like that one too.
AJ needs to have a big game.
I think AJ will have a big game. So we have the parlayable props. The coin toss, they're pretty much even there. The heads or tails. Will either team score 3 straight times? Yes, minus 180. No, plus 160. That's an interesting.
Yeah, they have a lot of different props in here, which I love looking at them.
I love Super Bowl props.
Largest lead of the game by either team, 14.5. You pick the over or under on that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That's a good one.
Last score of the first half will be a touchdown or any other score. Those are both minus 110. Will there be a safety? Yes, plus 800. No, minus 1,400.
I wouldn't take that. I mean, there could be, but I wouldn't take that. I love it when there's a safety. I get so excited when there's a safety.
There almost was the other night. I think, was it Jalen Hurts?
We talked about this last week on the Music City Bets podcast, but Superbook already has Super Bowl 58 odds that you can bet on. The two favorites are the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs at plus 600. Eagles and Niners plus 800 to win it all next year. For reference, scroll down. The Tennessee Titans are plus 8,000, tied with the Falcons, Panthers, and Colts.
Hey, put $5 on them. Maybe that get Brady, and there you go, right off into the sunset.
Look, there's some long shots that I would dabble on.
So I did a long shot one on the NFL awards before the season started.
Yeah.
On MVP, Rookie of the Year, all of those, Offensive Player of the Year, and Defensive Player of the Year. And it's funny to look back at them now because you think you know how the season's going to go, and you put $5 on it to win. I think it was like $1 million or something like that. I saw it on Twitter, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna place that bet. And it was like Lamar Jackson to win MVP. No, I think Micah Parsons I had for Defensive Player of the Year or something
Yeah.
like that, which
That was smart.
That could be possible. They'll announce the awards. What is that coming up? When is the NFL awards? This
It's
weekend?
usually the night before the Super Bowl.
Okay, so
I think
it's still
next weekend.
2 weeks away. But you can put money on everything, which I kind of love, but I feel like I haven't been winning lately. I feel like when I say bets over the air and I'm thinking about it, they always turn out right. But then when I actually go to my Superbook app,
Maverick said, "Don't think, just do."
I know. I need to do. But if you want to win money, you can just do the opposite of Joe Rexrode because he has some
which is smart.
Very bad for this season.
Which is smart. I mean, he called me out today, so that's fine.
I'm still over 500, so
That's okay. 615-737-1025. Caller number 5 will win a pair of tickets to see Adam Sandler.
Good luck.
Coming up at Bridgestone Arena, and we have a lot of people weighing in on this of their favorite Adam Sandler movie. But you can win a pair of tickets to see Adam Sandler at Bridgestone Arena on Friday, February 17th. 615-737-1025. Caller number 5 will win that now. Coming up next, unfortunately, we don't have Joe Fortenbaugh that's able to join us, but should Titans fans be happy for A.J. Brown? We'll discuss that coming up next here on Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
185! Every team needs a quarterback.
185!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown.
Tim.
You can run good plays at the right time.
ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
You evaluate players, and then you're turning them over to the coaching staff.
Every Tuesday at noon.
At the right time.
With Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Tim on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Are you ready to experience luxury at its finest with the best spirits and cigars in the industry? Well, then you need to check out Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars because it's time beautifully filled. I love going in Blend Bar because, one, I love old fashions. They've been voted the best old fashioned in Nashville over 14 other bars and restaurants. And let me tell you, it is fantastic. Blend Bar also has an exclusive relationship with Davidoff Cigars. They're the best cigars in the world, and that allows them access to rare cigars that only Blend can carry. Here's the cool thing about it, too. If, say you have somebody that's not a cigar smoker, Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars has the best ventilation system in the industry that allows for enjoyment for cigar smokers and non-cigar smokers alike. It changes the air out every 7 minutes through extensive carbon filtration. So you definitely need to check that out. They also have a VIP room that's available for events that has that same ventilation system. You get your own private elevator, private updated bathroom, marble countertops. There's a 70-inch TV and custom imported leather furniture. And catering is an option as well. Just let my man Jeremy know that you want to do something in the VIP and party area. But it's downtown, 508 Church Street, blocks away from Bridgestone Arena, Nissan Stadium, and the Ryman Auditorium. So if you're headed downtown for an event, stop in Blend Bar. Tell Jeremy that I said what's up, because Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars is my go-to spot downtown, and you need to check it out. Time beautifully filled.
The choice is yours, Wednesdays at 8:45. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies. Now hiring experienced sprinkler experts. Go to jarrettfire.com. JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, a company above and beyond industry standards.
Here's a Valentine's reminder from Genesis Diamonds. It's not just the thought that counts, it's the effort too. So let Genesis Diamonds turn your Valentine's Day gift into a grand romantic gesture with our Ultimate Valentine's Day package. Right now, when you spend just $99 or more at Genesis Diamonds, we'll give you gourmet chocolates, a bouquet from Jenny's Flowers, and a gift card toward a romantic dinner at STK Steakhouse. It's just one stop at Genesis Diamonds and you create a total romantic experience. You simply choose which ring, pair of earrings, or bracelet or sparkling pendant best matches your special someone, and we'll take care of the rest. And as always, we'll guarantee the best value price with no commission salespeople. The Ultimate Valentine's Day package. Jewelry, flowers, dinner, and candy from Genesis Diamonds. Sure does make it look like she's worth the extra effort. And that's the thought that really counts. Hurry in now because packages are limited. Genesis Diamonds in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
when you want live and local.
If they were just better at the offensive line,
You can be a contender in the AFC again.
They've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years?
AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan. Taking you through your mid-morning.
Love it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. This is Jason Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club. Love your hair. Live your life.
Where'd you find those crazy characters?
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McKay, Michelle Knezovic, reporter Nick Keiser with you. Nick, who is our winner for the Adam Sandler tickets?
Mike is our winner today.
Shout out to
Congrats,
Mike.
I'm jealous.
And a lot of you have been weighing in on some Adam Sandler movies, which are good. Click has gotten a few votes. That's an okay one.
No, I do not like that movie.
I didn't love it, but some people do. Josh from White House, this is a good one. No one ever brings up Rain Over Me. It was a serious role he played post 9/11. Great movie, and he nailed the emotion in the movie. That is a good one.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's a good one. Good morning. This is Thomas in Nashville. Good morning, ma'am in suit. Huge Adam Sandler fan. I remember when he was on Remote Control with Ken Olber and Colin Quinn on MTV. Yes. That was way back in the day.
I have not seen his MTV days.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was way back in the day. So
he's just a very likable actor.
Yeah. And,
who doesn't love a good laugh?
You know, can sing and has his songs. You know, obviously the Hanukkah song is huge. So
or his Chris Farley song.
His Chris Farley song is very good.
What was the one movie where he was it just Mr. Deeds? I forgot what that one was. Where he owns...
The one movie that he was in, Mr. Deeds? No, he was in more than one movie.
Well, no, I'm trying to remember. He owned the Jets in one of them, and he's like, "Oh my God, I own the Jets."
Oh yeah, I think that's Mr. Deeds.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's Mr. Deeds. You're right.
That's a funny one.
That's a good one.
Longfellow Deeds. What a name. What a name indeed.
I think I'm gonna watch that today with
You
this weather. Yep, that's what's happening.
So should Titans fans be happy for A.J. Brown going to the Super Bowl? And I want your participation on this. A lot of people have kind of given their thoughts on it. You know, we had Brett Kern on yesterday, of course. Longtime Titans punter, was his teammate here. Now they're teammates again with the Philadelphia Eagles. And Michelle and I both brought up A.J. Brown and just the difference he's seen in A.J. from the end of his Titans tenure to now with the Philadelphia Eagles. Here's what A.J. Brown here's what Brett Kern had to say yesterday on A.J. Brown.
Yeah, I mean, AJ's a stud. You know, we've had multiple conversations since I've been here, and you know, just great talks, just about our times in Tennessee, and obviously being here together. And yeah, he's grown. I think just the position he's here. I think he's just taking the responsibility to kind of be that guy and to be that leader. And there's a lot of veteran leaders on this team. Guys that have been around here with the Eagles for a long time, but just guys that have been in the league for a long time. And so I think to learn under those guys too as well is huge for him. And he's really, taken into that role. As far as being that one guy, that stud receiver, and obviously with Devontae here too. Both of them kind of relish that opportunity that they're between the two of them a dynamic duo. And so but he's a great guy, man. Our lockers are almost right across from each other. And, it was really cool to just have a moment with him on the field yesterday and just congratulate him, give him a big hug, and just told him I was proud of him.
Look, I think there were mistakes that A.J. Brown made along the way. And I think, a lot of people believe that both sides, meaning the Titans and A.J., probably could have handled some things differently. And if they had, he could still be here. And who knows what the season would have looked like. Because Brett just pointed out something there, that he has something that he didn't really have here. They tried to make it work here, but now he has a guy that's just as good as he is on the other side. And so you have two bona fide number ones. I think John Robinson had hoped He was going to get more out of Julio Jones. You're going to have that 1-2 threat.
Yeah.
You know, they had made the trade for Robert Woods, and not that Robert Woods was a true number one, but that was going to be a good complementary receiver to A.J. Brown. And I still believe even if they had stayed pat and didn't trade him, they could have probably still gotten Treylon Burks had they wanted to, and they needed to. They needed to make they needed to draft a wide receiver. But ultimately they didn't. They traded him, and now he's with Philadelphia. I think that made him grow up some, humbled him a little bit. Obviously, he had his game against the Titans where he balled out, and you would expect that. I mean, he went off for sure, and he needed to do that. It probably got the general manager fired, him doing that. But you know, I for one am happy for him. You know, I can sit here and say, look, there were times he needed to log off Twitter. And if he was going to be on Twitter, stop deleting tweets. You know, you're making it harder on yourself. And I stand by all of that. But I do believe he's a very talented young man, and you've seen that maturity, and he has taken that contract that he got this year. He has shown that he deserved it, and now he's helped get his team to the Super Bowl.
Well, we have a text on the text line here, Joey from Gallatin, and I love that he said this. As a lifetime football fan, I 100% congratulate AJ for making it to the Super Bowl. That is a dream of any player. He has worked hard to get there. And I think that that's how fans need to view it, right? He's a young kid. He's 24, 25. I think he's the same age as me, right? Like, it was a really tough situation. He made it clear he wanted to stay here, but, you know, when you get into talks of negotiation and, you know, you're seeing what other receivers are making and it's about money and it's your job, and, you know, the unfortunate truth of the NFL is you get paid based off your worth, right? And when you get into conversations like that, those are not things anybody wants to hear, right? And okay, he tweeted some things, right? But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, when I covered him here for, you know, the one season I was here, right? Like, he never, like, when we were doing interviews or from Joe Rexroad, a guy who's been in the locker room, you know, year after year, he never was, you know, a mean guy or a rude guy, and people loved him, right? He had a big smile on his face all the time. And, you know, I think people just need to look at it too of, the Titans are the ones who traded him, right? At the end of the day, they had every opportunity to keep him. But I think people just, it's so easy for them to be mad that he's playing there. But, you know, he could have wanted to stay here and wanted to still work on figuring out a contract. But at the end of the day, Tennessee traded him.
Yeah.
He didn't, you know, just jump to the Eagles, and the situation worked out, and we don't know. We hear one side and the other side of the story, but the truth is somewhere in between. But at the end of the day, they could have tagged him. And they would have stunk.
They didn't even have to do that. I mean, it was his third year.
Kept him for a year, yeah. So, you know, at the end of the day, this organization is the one who made the decision.
Yep.
So
they bailed out too quick.
I agree.
Mean,
look at
the end of the
Debo.
day,
Look at Debo.
You know, and I turned out to be wrong on that, but that's what they did. Corey Curtis yesterday was on Robbie and Rexroad, and he got asked if he thought Titans fans were happy for AJ.
Well, it was one of the things I wondered last night. You know, for Sports Extra, we started our show mapping out kind of, you know, how April 28th sent two franchises in two different directions. You know, one of them fired their GM and their offensive coordinator. You can link both of those to that trade. I don't think there's any question to that. And then the Eagles go to the Super Bowl. Now, AJ didn't do a ton yesterday, but he had 1,500 yards and 11 touchdowns this season, so he was a huge part of their equation. So, you know, I don't want to hear that he didn't have anything to do with them going to the Super Bowl, because he absolutely did. You know, so the other thing I just asked was a simple poll question: are you happy for A.J. Brown? And I didn't know how it would go, and it was interesting because the emotional votes came early. Early on, the emotional votes of no flooded in, and I was like, wow, this is a landslide. People are still angry with him. But in the end, it turned out to be like 55% said they were happy for A.J. Brown. So I think a lot of people are past it. I think a lot of people know that both sides could have handled the situation better. But hating A.J. Brown I don't think is going to help a darn thing. And I think also Brett Kern being there softens it for some people, and they want Brett Kern to have good things.
I think that's definitely a true statement. That's Corey Curtis yesterday on Robbie and Rex Road. Having Kern there certainly helps it. But, look, I'm happy for AJ. And it's hard to say if you take him off that team, if they make the Super Bowl or not. I think they probably don't.
No.
I mean, I think having two stud receivers has made Jalen Hurts that much better. Now, they have a run game, they have a great defense, they have all those things, but A.J. Brown's made Devontae Smith better.
He's also made Jalen Hurts better.
Yeah, exactly.
He's helped Jalen Hurts be able to take that next step as a quarterback because he has a guy like A.J. Brown who can make plays for him on the field. And, we had another texter text in and said, AJ's not a Titan. I don't give two bleeps if he's in the Super Bowl. But, AJ did a lot for this franchise. He helped you earn the 1 seed last year. He helped you get to the AFC Championship. He's been a big part of this franchise. And, just because he goes somewhere else and they make it to the Super Bowl, why not be happy for people? It was a negative situation. It sucks that your team traded him. But at the end of the day, he didn't trade himself.
No, he did not. 615-737-1025. Are you happy for A.J. Brown and him going to the Super Bowl? And what are the long-term effects of this trade for the Two-Tone Blue? We will discuss that coming up next. Chase and Michelle, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at noon.
That fits the mentality of what they're going to do.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
Much more creative in how you go about calling certain plays.
He's got opinions and insights on the Two-Tone Blue.
That doesn't mean that you can't have great or don't need great quarterback play.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
All right, my friends, the final drive for the championship is here, and there's no better place to wager on the football title tilt than Superbook Sports. Superbook features the best menu of prop bets in the business. Plus, check out their special odds boosts and promotions over at Superbook.com. They have over 3 decades of odds-making experience in Las Vegas, so there's no better place to wager than Superbook Sports. You can win some money as one lucky team will win the championship. Is it going to be Kansas City? Is it going to be Philadelphia? Philadelphia, a 2-point favorite against KC in the big game at Superbook Sports. You can bet on that right now. The over-under at 49.5, almost 50 points. Unbelievable. But you can get it all and some props right there at Superbook. Download the Superbook Sports app today. Visit Superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
The Freaks on Parade Tour returns. Zombie, Cooper, Rob Zombie, Alice Cooper, together live. September 12th, Bridgestone Arena. With special guests, Ministry and Filter. Tickets are on sale Friday, 10 a.m. at LiveNation.com. The Freaks on Parade Super Tour. Buy tickets at LiveNation.com.
Imagine her delight when she unwraps a luxurious spa day from A Moment's Peace, the ultimate day spa and salon in Cool Springs. A spa gift card lets her pick whatever she wants, and whether you spend a little or go lavish, you're a thoughtful romantic this Valentine's Day. But time's running very short. Call 224-0770. A Moment's Peace in Cool Springs across I-65 from Galleria Mall at the intersection of Carruthers Parkway and Bakers Bridge Avenue. Call or click right now, 224-0770. Online at amomentspeace.com.
The National Wild Turkey Federation is celebrating 50 years of conservation delivery during this year's convention and sports show, set for February 16th through 18th at Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center in Nashville, Tennessee. Come celebrate the golden anniversary with members, volunteers, partners, and countless outdoor enthusiasts. You can expect the same great nightly events, quality entertainment in the watering hole, and the latest gear from more than 450 companies featured in their exhibit hall. For more info, go to nwtf.org.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? Some brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
I got some good news.
Taking you through your mid-morning, this is Chase and Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club, love your hair, live your life. on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McKay, Michelle Knezovic hanging out with you here on a Tuesday. Brought to you by our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. I forgot what I was saying there for a
That's
second.
okay. I thought it was Wednesday until about an hour ago. So
I know. Chase and Michelle presented by Hair Club. Love your hair, live your life, creating custom hair loss solutions for men and women. Should Titans fans be happy for Arthur Juan and A.J. Brown now going to the Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles? I know we have a couple texts on the text line of people weighing in, Michelle.
Yeah, Tommy on the text line. Heck yeah, I'm proud of him. Titans fan needs to stop hating. Our idiot front office chose to not pay him, the man, and now they see that they have messed up big time. Hope the Eagles win it all. Sure do miss having him here in Nashville. You have to pay to play, and Amy is too cheap. So, talking about not paying your big-time players, and we've had this discussion before just about this organization paying wide receivers as a whole.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have one wide receiver that can speak on that.
Demas.
Yeah. The thing is, though, can you tell me in the history of the Titans, since the team's been here, the receivers that you should pay the big money to that aren't named Derek Mason or A.J. Brown? Because there really isn't an answer.
I don't think big money, but I think as a two, Corey Davis.
Corey Davis is one that you can make an argument for, but
not these huge contracts we're saying that like Devontae Adams and AJ should have gotten, but I think pay him, and you think of, okay, if you had him and you ended up paying AJ and you had those two as a 1-2 punch and Derrick Henry.
Like the contract that Corey got got with the Jets. I probably, looking back on it, would have paid that.
What is it?
3 years, $37.5 million.
I think he's a solid number 2 receiver in the NFL.
I mean, he's making this year. He's going to make 11.1 against the cap. So that's.
I mean, the receiver market right now. I mean, you're paying. Who'd you rather have him or Robert Woods? Because you're paying Robert Woods like 14 for 2 years.
I'd rather have him, even though he didn't have a great year.
I think he was hurt a little bit,
Yeah,
which doesn't
that's
help
the
the
problem.
argument. It doesn't help the argument.
He's always hurt. That's the problem. That is my biggest knock on Corey Davis, is he's always hurt. I mean, his last year here, he was almost a 1,000-yard receiver, but he played 14 of the 16 games.
That's pretty good.
Last year he had 492. Actually, no, I wouldn't have given him that. Nah.
Scratch it.
Yeah.
We got Keith on the text line and said, I'm actively rooting against AJ. He got himself traded by whining for more money while under contract. Titans traded him to set a tone that they won't negotiate with divas before they have to. I disagree with that, Keith. I think this word diva has been thrown around with AJ Brown a lot. A lot of it has been thrown around without a lot of information and just kind of the outside looking in on him. And I think it's also really easy to call wide receivers divas because they just want more money. I mean, the reason he started negotiating is because he saw the market value going up. When you're playing in the NFL and any snap could be your last snap, we witnessed it firsthand this year. A.J. Brown saw what was happening with the wide receiver market that was set by Christian Kirk, who A.J. Brown is a better wide receiver than Christian Kirk, and he saw what that did to the wide receiver market in the NFL. He capitalized off of it because he knew that in a couple years, it probably will settle down and go down a bit. We've seen it with different positions. We saw it with tight ends a couple years ago, right? Once somebody sets the market like that, I mean, he had to take advantage of it and do what was best for him.
Yeah. Look, I hate these arguments of, well, he's under contract. So because he is under contract, he is not allowed to want more money. The league works that you come in, you sign a rookie deal. The PA and the league negotiated what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of guys outperform that before it's up. And I don't fault a guy for wanting to get his contract early, because how many times do you see a guy miss out on it because they get hurt? It's a tough league. So this argument, I mean, I get it. You're right. He is under contract. But I don't have an issue with him now, I don't always agree with holding out. I think Jeffrey Simmons has done it the right way, and Jeffrey Simmons is going to get rewarded for it.
But we didn't even know if AJ was going to hold out. I mean,
He was. I mean,
Okay, but we can say that.
That I feel pretty confident in.
Okay, but we can say that, but it never actually happened because they didn't give him the ability to hold out.
They didn't let it happen.
But it's really easy for us to say, okay, he wouldn't have played. Okay. We never got to see it happen, so we don't know if it would have happened. People said, he cut off communication. I don't know how true that is because we've heard there's two sides of every story, and then there are three sides. There's one side, there's J-Rob's side, there's AJ's side, and then the truth somewhere in between. We can easily say, we definitely think he would have held out. Okay, yeah. Look at what happened with Debo. Debo, waited. They didn't trade him, held out for a bit, and then he finally got his contract.
Yeah, look, the reason that I said he would hold out, and I still believe that, is because that's what guys do, and it works. Because they know that they have the team by the throat, and they make them pay. Now, the Titans did because AJ pointed this out. All these receivers basically got the same deal. They pretty much got the same deal. He was the only one that got traded. And it was because they just didn't want to go through it. They didn't want to deal with the holdouts and I think that John, and this isn't all on John.
Tyreek got traded.
Well, Tyreek, yeah, that's true.
And Devontae.
Well, yeah, but theirs were, I think, more. I think and I think Tyreek had already signed his, but Devontae got more than those guys that we're talking about.
Yeah, a little. But
yeah, I'm talking about like DK, Debo, AJ, like that group all basically got the same deal. So I think John, was on this I want team first guys with a great attitude and the Patriot way and guys that aren't going to hold out and fight for that. And I don't think he wanted, he just wasn't putting up with it. And I also believe that Amy didn't want to put up with that either. So I don't think it's all on J-Rob.
No, I don't think it is either.
I think it was on the organization too, that they didn't want that and went ahead and made the deal. This whole narrative of people saying that he didn't want to be here, I don't know if I buy that. I don't think we really know one way or another. Now he's going to say the right things. Like now in retrospect, yeah, I wanted to be a Titan. Okay, I mean he probably did. I think he wanted to be. He would have been a Colt if they had given him the money.
Well, and I think we saw too from last year, and he came out with that video really vulnerable, just talking through like mental health, and said that Mike Vrabel was such a big part of that. I truly do believe that Mike Vrabel wanted to coach AJ and AJ wanted to play for Mike Vrabel. I do believe that they had a really close relationship, but I believe too, I think both can be true, that AJ knew that he deserved more money based off of the other guys in the league who were getting paid. I think Mike Vrabel agreed that AJ deserved more money, and he probably was like, just wait. We're going to figure it out. And then, as you mentioned, the ownership group and J-Rob making a decision of, no, we don't want this, but you're going to play under your contract. Like, we're not going to deal with this right now, and then made a rash decision to trade him, and it clearly was the wrong decision.
Yeah. And, they could end up being fine from it because Treylon Burks could turn out to be, just as good. We don't know yet. Injuries kind of derailed his rookie season, but, that's the decision they made. They got to live with it, and John's got to live with it. And how can that affect him moving forward? That is the question. Jonathan Hutton had an interesting take. You asked him about it yesterday. We'll get to that coming up next and put a bow on things. It's Chase and Michelle, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi, and this is Smashwell.
Going to the front of the net, he scores. What a gorgeous move. Roman Yossi.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey, you think mortgage rates are still super high? Well, think again. Rates have plummeted to a 5-month low. Hey, Willie Donick here. Call my friends at Loan Pronto now to see how low rates are. It may be time to do that refinance you've been putting off, or time to get back to house hunting. If you're like a lot of people, you've got way too much credit card debt right now, and you're getting fleeced with 20+% interest charges every month, or maybe your current home rate is over 6%. So if that applies to any of you, listen, you can get a quick, easy refi at Loan Pronto. Wipe out all those cards, close in about 14 days, and cut your overall expenses by $500 a month or more. How does that sound to you? Right now, Loan Pronto is doing refis with APRs in the 4s. So call now to take advantage of this big rate drop. Get those credit cards to zero. Start that home improvement project, or get out of that 7% loan you were forced into last year. Here's the phone number, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hey, it's John Tesh. You know, we've all felt the impact of inflation on everything from food to housing to gas. But most people don't realize the cost of your home and auto insurance is also likely to go up. With the rising cost of building materials, car parts, and labor, even the insurance companies are taking a hit, which means you will too. So if you're working with a company that only has one option and not a company that shops multiple carriers to find the best deal, you're wasting your money. It's why you should be working with Zander Insurance. They represent over 24 top insurance companies that are competing for your business, meaning you get the right home and auto coverage at the lowest prices this year and every year. And Zander's service can't be beat, I know from experience. Just check out their reviews. Saving money has to be a priority these days. Go to Zander.com or call 800-356-4282 and find out how much you can save. You'll see why over 500,000 families trust Zander.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas.
Well, you've got the whole world listening. What do you got to say?
You're listening to Chase and Michelle, presented by Hair Club. Hair Club, love your hair, live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's Love Week on 102.5, 106.3 The Game, brought to you by A Moment's Peace Day Salon and Day Spa in Cool Springs. You can tune in for Robbie and Rexroad tomorrow morning between 6 and 9 for details on how you could win a $100 gift card to A Moment's Peace Day Salon and Day Spa in Cool Springs and qualify for a chance to win a $1,000 Genesis Diamonds
Get your
gift
gifts
card.
early. Get your gifts early, fellas.
Yeah, hey, Ryan in Chicago, get your gifts early. Just saying.
Get it all ready. We want to be ahead of schedule. Listen, and you call in when we do the giveaway, and I answer the phone, and it's so funny because the last 2 winners, the guys have been like, yes. And it's like, check off the list. You got your gift, and then you can get put in the drawing for a bigger gift.
What is the I'm going to put you on the spot because this is fun. What is the expectation for Ryan in Chicago for this Valentine's Day?
Listen, I think, we love cooking. Cooking would be fun. Maybe some flowers. I don't need anything huge. I don't need jewelry or anything like that. Flowers, just a nice evening, a nice day. But ladies, if you're listening too, you also need to return the favor because not just one-sided. So get some chocolates or chocolate-covered strawberries. Do some fun fruit activities, a cooking class, something fun.
I'm
blushing.
I know, that's why I did that. If I were in a relationship right now.
Okay, Taylor Swift, listen up.
Tay, I'll see you in May. If I were in a relationship right now and she's like, well, what do you want? I would probably say, can I defer this gift to later on when I know that I'm going to need a weekend or need something.
That's true.
I feel like Valentine's Day is a good time to do that. Like Christmas and birthdays, you got to take the gift right there. But
yes.
Valentine's Day, it's hey, I got the coin toss. Can I defer? I would like to defer this till later on.
I think that's fair. And I also think Valentine's Day is so much put on the men to do something for their girlfriend.
Yeah, but I like that. I like to spoil. So it's an excuse, which I don't always need that. But I would, if I'm in Ryan's spot, I would look at that as a A good opportunity.
There you go. But
Ryan, call me after the show. I got ideas.
Oh gosh. I don't want to know.
I got
Or
you.
just call in to try to win the contest, which would be great as well.
He's not eligible.
Oh,
but,
okay.
you know,
Sorry.
but, call me. 615-737-1025. Talking about A.J. Brown. Real quick, I want to play this clip from yesterday from Jonathan Hutton when he was on our show. You asked, I thought, a very good question of how this might affect J-Rob moving forward and his ability to become a GM again in this league.
Do you think that the A.J. Brown trade and looking at how it's panned out could affect John Robinson's future as a general manager in the NFL?
Yeah, it could. It could. But keep in mind, the GM spots are interesting because by and large, you don't get a second opportunity as a general manager once you're fired. It's puzzling because they go with the young up and coming scouts and personnel department leadership more than they do retreads at the GM spot. It's very opposite on the head coaching end of things. So the young GMs go with the more experienced and oftentimes less qualified candidates based on their previous history. But we view the general manager spot differently because of the overall management of a roster, and I think in large part because the current GMs are much more familiar than the current scouts across the league or the personnel department heads. So I think that plays a factor in the overall perception of the position. But Robinson's also going to be able to point to how he revamped the roster here whenever he took over, and I think he'll be able to lay out a plan, much like he did in front of Amy Adams Strunk, that presents himself in a much better light than that trade does. So do I think Robinson was a good GM? Yes. Do I think he has put together, in the current state of things, a depth on a position by position that's good enough to win in the postseason? No. The deepest teams right now are winning when guys go down, and the Titans, by and large, did a decent job because of their head coach and their coaching staff of making the most out of what they've had, and we kind of overlooked their overall depth issues because of that. They were still winning at 7-3 this season. They were still winning. So, yeah, I think he can win over another owner, but it's got to be the right owner, the right position, and the right pitch for him to step in and do that.
That's Jonathan Hutton yesterday on our show talking about John Robinson and his ability to get another job because of the AJ trade. I believe he's going to be a GM again, but I do think he's going to have to explain that one. That when he's talking to teams and he's talking to owners and like, hey, what was your thought process? Now, I also believe that there are aspects to that trade that we don't know everything about.
Of course.
And he can explain that. But overall, I think the other thing is going to be the drafting, the scouts and how they viewed prospects and, the medicals and all of that. He'll have to explain that. But ultimately, I think he'll be a GM again.
See, I think Jonathan had a really interesting answer on that. And, when you put it in perspective, right, there's 32 teams in the NFL. And when you get that job, nobody wants to give it up. So when you lose that opportunity, and especially the way that John Robinson lost it here, getting fired in the middle of the season, not at the end of the year when they're trying to, change things around, that is going to be something that will follow him to a new career, whether he gets interviewed for other jobs. But a lot of the times they are going with younger guys. I mean, look at here, the Tennessee Titans, Ran Carthon, young guy from a successful organization. Then you look at the Cardinals. They hired Monty Austinfort from here, young guy with a successful organization, learning the last couple of years. Two guys who both have never been a general manager in the league before, both getting opportunities this year. And, I don't have the time right now to look, but I think it's something I'm going to look into, when I get home of, how many times do general managers get much of a second chance in this league? Because I don't think it's very often. I mean, like I said, I would need to look it up and
I'm trying to think of,
and those are only two instances that I just brought up right here and the Cardinals this year. But it would be interesting to see, just look
Bill
over
Polian.
Yeah.
Got a couple of different opportunities. Dorsey, John Dorsey, I think is his name. He was with Kansas City and then Cleveland. Those are the two.
Like even Chicago just hiring a new GM, Ryan Poles. This is his first year, right? So 3 guys who've never been general managers with 3 organizations who.
Trent Baalke has gotten a couple of opportunities. So it certainly happens. But I just think it depends. You got to look at the track record overall. And anyone like John that I think has been cut from that Patriots cloth and then Tampa, which is also the Patriots cloth, that's certainly going to help him. Let's go to the phone, 615-737-1025, talking about A.J. Brown. David wants to weigh in. Welcome in, David.
Hey, David.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
I mean, you can't pay A.J. Brown all that money when he hadn't produced over 1,000 yard catches a year. He hadn't done that here. Now, I still think some sneaky trading was going on between Philadelphia.
Okay.
Because how did he know when he left that that's where he was going to get to go? I still say there's a lot of fishiness going on, and we got it in the shorts.
All right. Thanks for the call, David. I don't know about that. I mean, he found out he was going to Philadelphia when the trade happened.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, I'm sure he had an idea before it broadcasted right over the air. Or his agent told him or something that a trade was about to happen during the draft process. But, whether that was 5-10 minutes, I don't think days or anything before. I highly doubt that.
I mean,
it's not how it works.
John said, and here's the thing. I don't know what he's talking about. He was a 1,000-yard receiver his first 2 years in the league.
And as far as his point, last year, right, we know he was injured. He was on and off the field. But a lot of times, too, you pay because you see the potential in a guy, right? You knew what you had in A.J. Brown, and you could think that sorry, we got a funny text on the text line. Wow, you've got Foghorn Leghorn on the phone. And that's the unfortunate truth, right? Because the Eagles.
Now, that was based on he did have some injury concerns. He was just over 1,000 yards as a receiver his first 2 years in the league. 1051 in his rookie year, 1075 in his second year, and then 869 last year. And the only time he played a full season was his rookie year. So that was a part of it. He made some key drops. I mean, I absolutely he deserved a new contract, but I was concerned with the amount of money per year that Philadelphia gave him. He obviously proved me wrong this year. He was almost a 1,500-yard receiver.
Proved a lot of people wrong.
Yeah, and he had a chip on his shoulder. He played all 17 games, so that was.
And he's headed to the Super Bowl.
So you live and learn on some of those things, and that's kind of where they're at. But ultimately, I think I'm happy for A.J. Brown. I feel like a lot of Titans fans are. This is going to be one of those things that's debated for many years to come, especially if the Titans don't get there and don't get to that position, whether they win it or not. So,
well, and the whole just storyline off of it, it's probably really easy for AJ right now. I mean, he went to one of the best teams in the NFL, right? He's heading to the Super Bowl. It couldn't have turned out more perfect for him. Yep. And that's, a sour to swallow if you're a Tennessee fan here in Nashville, but it's the unfortunate truth. And if he was having a losing season, maybe he would have regretted it, but he's not. So it's the unfortunate reality of the situation. And you're right, Chase. It will reflect this organization for a very long time.
Coming up next, it's Caroline, Willie, and D. Mace. They will talk about the quarterback carousel around the league and how that could affect the two-tone blue. That is all coming up next. We'll be back at it tomorrow at 9 here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
When you want live and local.
If they were just better at the offensive line.
You can be a contender in the AFC again.
They've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and